What's good, y'all, man? We back with another video, man. How y'all doing great today? Today we got 4 emotional outbursts of people hearing their life sentence. You know what I'm saying? If we get into the video, you see this man right here. He's distraught. He's really down on himself right now. If we get into the video though, see how it go.
We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty of. You are free to leave. Thank you. Good luck to you, sir.
The courtroom is a place where tensions run high. However, at times, it's the emotions that flood the judge's room of law. Number 4, Daniel Villegas. Sometimes Daniel Villegas would wake up and knock on the walls of his home or wherever he was staying and check to see if he wasn't dreaming. He would check to see if he truly was free and not in prison. Villegas spent 20 years in jail after he was wronged.
Wow, bro.
Capital slaying in the fatal shootings of 2 El Pasoans in 1990.
That's crazy, bro.
El Paso jury found Villegas not guilty of.
I imagine spending your whole life, almost your whole life in jail, bro, and you didn't even do nothing. I need compensation, bro. You feel me? I need no rest. Like, you need to go and send them my way, bro. I'm suing somebody, like, you know what I'm saying? I need something for that.
In October 2018, the jury of 7 women and 5 men deliberated for about 9 hours before reaching their decision. The ruling ended a 25-year saga that included 3 trials and numerous appeals. I am thankful for Daniel and his family. Villegas' lawyer,
That sounds crazy, bro.
I can't even imagine what that young man and his family have been dealing with for a quarter of a century. Villegas wept as he
25 years, bro.
And collapsed to his knees when it was read. His family and supporters who packed the courtroom erupted in applause.
State of Texas versus Daniel Villegas. The record should reflect the court has received a message from the jury indicating that they've reached a verdict. We are back on the record in cause number 940D0.
I'm crazy, man.
28, the state of Texas versus Daniel Villegas. Could you please hand the charge and the verdict form to the bailiff, who will deliver it to the court so that I can ensure that it is in proper form. If the defendant will please stand. The state of Texas versus Daniel Villegas. Verdict form B. We, the jury, find the defendant Daniel Villegas not guilty of.
After 409th District Court Judge dismissed the jurors, Villegas and his family hugged and then rushed to the elevator, saying only that he was very happy and excited. Excited by the verdict. Villegas and his family then went to pray at St. Mark Catholic Church. But not everyone was happy. Prosecutor James Montoya said that despite the verdict, the El Paso County District Attorney's Office maintains that Villegas is responsible for the 2 slayings. We are disappointed with the jury's verdict, but we accept it, Montoya said. We believe the evidence shows that Daniel Villegas is the person who slayed Bobby England and Armando Lazo. We would not have gone through this if we didn't believe that, he added. There are no other.
I mean, he still believes he didn't do it, so I don't know.
We believe when the defendant, Villegas, confessed to his cousin, to his friend, that those were truthful confessions and that he was admitting his guilt. Prosecutors cannot appeal the acquittal. Spencer said prosecutors offered Villegas a plea deal in which he would be sentenced to time served if he pleaded guilty. Daniel didn't think about that plea deal, Spencer said. He has 2 small babies and he had an opportunity to guarantee he was going to walk home. But he said, I made the mistake of saying something I didn't do a long time. I'm not going to do it again.
I know he happy, man. That's not crazy, man. Man, bro.
Jury be polled so that I can ensure that it is your individual verdicts. You are no longer under any conditions in this court. You are free to leave. Thank you. Good luck to you, sir.
Number 3, Trey Relford.
Trey Relford.
Abdul Munim Sombat Jit Mood sat
What?
in a Kentucky courtroom more
What
than
he said?
2.5
Jit
years
Moose.
after his son was slayed while delivering a Pizza Hut order. In a few moments, a judge would at last sentence the man complicit in the slaying of Jit Mood's son, Salahuddin. But before she could, Jit Mood shocked the courtroom by extending his forgiveness to Trey Alexander Relford, who had pleaded guilty to his involvement in the slaying. Forgiveness is the greatest gift of charity in Islam, Jit Mood, 66, said on the witness stand. Teary-eyed after the father's gesture, Fayette County Circuit Judge Kimberly Bunnell called for a break in the hearing.
I think this may be a good time to take a break. Thank you.
When court resumed, Relford apologized to Jitmood for his son's passing. Then the father and the convict hugged, Relford wiping his face with tissues as Jitmood...
That sounds crazy, bro. Like, you know what type of man you gotta be to do that, bro? Like, this is your son killer in front of your face. And you hugging him, dapping him up, telling him he good. Like, he a different type of man, bro. This is crazy, bro. I love, man.
Around the 24-year-old. Members of the Relford and Jitmood families, sobbing, joined the pair for a group hug. The courtroom audience watched, transfixed.
I'm sorry about what happened that day.
Just tell them that you do. When I thank you.
Jitmood whispered to Relford that he should embrace Islam during his time in prison. Jitmood later told media that Relford was really astonished by this. I don't think the family came prepared to hear this.
Wallahu Ghafurur Rahim. Allah, Almighty God, is the most forgiving and the most merciful. Now Salahuddin family open heart, forgive him. Now the door opportunity for God to forgive him is open.
After all of that, Relford was sentenced to serve more than 3 decades in prison. 31 years for complicity in slaying, complicity to robbery, and attempted tampering with evidence. In April 2015, authorities say 22-year-old Salahuddin Jitmood was delivering for Pizza Hut at a Lexington, Kentucky apartment complex when he was fatally knifed and robbed. Prosecutors say Relford, along with 2 other men who weren't indicted, called pizza delivery restaurants and stalked different drivers before zeroing in on Jitmood.
Crazy, man.
Because Jitmood's son was Muslim, the slaying rattled Lexington's large Muslim community, which wondered whether the slaying was a hate crime. Police have said there is no evidence that that was the case. Afterward, Relford's mother, Gail Coote Bird, was called to the witness stand. She spoke of her son's history with drugs and acknowledged that the Jitmood family had agreed to a plea deal so that her son would avoid a possible penalty sentence.
Because I was shocked to hear your forgiveness. Deeply sorry for your loss. And I thank you so much for comforting me and my family.
Jitmood told media that Bird thanked him for comforting her family and was touched by Jitmood's kindness. She gave him her email address, he said, telling him she wanted to learn more about Islam. When it was Relford's turn to speak, he stood up and addressed Jitmood directly, wiping his eyes on the collar of his prison uniform.
I'm sorry about what happened that day.
It just takes a powerful man. I have a child. And I can't imagine the hurt, the pain from what you learned.
Her eventually received a 31-year sentence for slaying and an additional 6 years for robbery. Number 2, James Roeder and Ashley Roeder.
Man.
A Kentucky judge surprised a suspect in a
That
burglary.
joint's still crazy, bro.
Allowed him to meet his newborn
Like,
son for the
say that you you're the dad and that's your son. You think you could have did that, John? Though? I don't know, man. I don't know. It been hard though. I ain't gonna lie.
in her courtroom. The touching encounter between inmate James Roeder, 24, and his baby boy was captured on video inside Judge Amber Wolf's Jefferson County District Courtroom. Roeder and his 25-year-old wife, Ashley, are co-defendants in a burglary case and have been prohibited by the judge from making contact with one another. The judge was wrapping up James Roeder's hearing and was preparing to begin a hearing for his wife just before 11 a.m. when she noticed the woman hold up a baby for him to see when her husband entered the courtroom. And it occurred to me after we finished this case that he had not met his baby, who was 30 days old, and that he was not going to get an opportunity to meet his baby anytime in the near future.
Exactly. You finna go chain gang.
In the grainy courtroom footage, Judge Wolf instructs James Roeder not to say anything about his case before summoning his wife to come forward with their baby, so that the father could meet him for the first time. Ashley
Dang, bro.
Roeder then comes forward carrying their son. I know you have a
I mean, it's all about sentimental though, sentimental
between
values.
you and Mrs. Roeder that I issued, and I am not changing that, Judge Wolf reminds the couple. I'm making a temporary exception right in front of me, on the record, so that you can meet this baby. This is your son, she says with a smile. The new mom then hands the baby to her husband, who cradles the infant in his arms and kisses him several times. In the video, the husband and wife appear to wipe their eyes as he hands his son back to Ashley. Judge Wolf, who appears to be on the brink of tears herself, then passes a box of tissues to the young couple. Following the emotional meeting, James Roeder was led out of the courtroom, and Judge Wolf thanked his wife for letting me be a part of that.
I'm making a temporary exception right in front of me on the record so that you can meet this baby. This is your son. Be careful.
Number 1, a mother forgives. Suleiman Abdul Mutakalim.
He ain't gonna never see that baby for like however long he got
and his
beat.
wife. Authorities say he was an innocent and unsuspecting victim. After 2 teenagers pleaded guilty at separate court hearings and were sentenced to prison terms, Abdul Mutakalim's mother, Rukiye, offered to hug them. Javon Coulter said she could. Rukiye wants to visit them in prison regularly and help them become better people. She thinks about it this way. They have been infected by a disease but are young. They can be cured. Vengeance, she said, solves nothing. It won't bring back her son. It happened the night of June 28, 2015.
Ain't lie, bro.
South Cummins.
These some like powerful people in this job, man, because it takes something in you to like to do that, John. Though, like forgive like somebody who, you feel me, blatantly kills your son or kills your daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. It's
Under a highway
so
overpass.
hard,
Suleiman was walking home from a White Castle carrying a bag of food. Police say there were 3 robbers. One of them, Javon, who was 14, was seen in a
But, like, take it.
video pulling money from the front pocket of his pants right after the shooting. The 39-year-old Navy veteran, known by many as Sam, was still alive, face down on the pavement, bleeding. His wallet likely contained less than $60.
They left him lying in the street in the gutter.
One was 17-year-old Valentino Pettis. Police believe the third person was a man in his 20s, but he was never charged. Javon, Valentino, and the third person then walked down the street, taking the food with them. In an interview at her College Hill home, Rukiye recalled the moment Suleiman, the youngest of her 3 biological children, passed away at University of Cincinnati Medical Center. She and other family members were at his bedside. She was holding his hand. Her religion teaches that there is no goodbye, so Rukiye whispered to her son, "Until I see you again." Then she kissed him. At a court hearing more than 2 years later on November 2nd, Rukiye, after asking Hamilton County Common Pleas Judge Megan Shanahan for permission, did something courtroom veterans said they'd never seen. She walked up to Javon, who just admitted involvement in her son's passing, and hugged him. She also embraced Javon's mother.
I couldn't, man. I don't know, man.
Beyond the act that took her son's life, and she pledged to do everything possible to make Javon a better man. His passing was already ordained, she told him. Maybe the purpose is to save your life.
If you just asked, I raised him the Islamic way of living. I am offering my family to help you and those who were with you to see a better way of life. You're going to a place where they're going to control you, and I would like to. My family would like very much to be a part of seeing a better way of life so that this does not repeat itself. This is what my son would have done with you, so I must honor his way because I taught him that way.
Rukiye, 66.
Yeah, she's strong in here for saying that,
Slayers
bro.
are children who have mothers like herself. Those young men, although they took my son's life in the manner they did, we need to fight for them because they are going to come back out and they will be older. But if they have no light, then this same disease is going to repeat itself and they are going to take another person's child's life and eventually their own, Rukiye said.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. His junk's crazy, man. Could y'all had did that junk though? Like hug y'all son killer? I don't know, man. I don't know. Hopefully y'all like video, man. See y'all tomorrow, man.